gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.
And they was talking all that hot ish. When the prophets ain't apostles, here the gospel is the gossip. I'm a science project, try and pocket this rhyming process. Watch us in formation, going through lines. Fiber optics, this is Miley Cyrus in her freak phase. The naked truth, don't be Ray Caruth in a trunk punk, just take the truth shit. Daisy Dukes at a night show, I raid your room, change the mood. That was like though, yeah. Break a fuse if they refuse. This snapping, shots without the flashes. If I was ever in a pit with you, that's harassment. Your storyboard magic, they had it. To be real, our ears over the field like 100-yard passes. Score the basket, order more caskets. Only way they getting bypasses is gastric. I'm tapped in, it's too late. Fix your face, this is sleeping on a killer in a cabin by Crystal Lake.
Lord,
we got rent to raise.
They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.
Peace, family. Welcome back to another episode Underground Railroad Productions. This is your host, Rich. I got some metaphysical jewelry for the family today. Some jewels. I made this point before on a show previously with Red Pill, I believe it is. But, I think it's extremely important. I continuously get reminded of, there's a saying. There's a saying. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I believe it was Nikola Tesla who said that. And when you go through the news cycle, we live in an era, we live in an age where we're always on our phones constantly. So when we was young, we would come home and watch TV, or we would wake up and watch morning TV. And in between then, we weren't influenced by the media unless we bought a magazine, bought a newspaper. The way the world is now, you're influenced by the media 24 hours a day, because we have this thing called a smartphone that most of us even sleep with. And because of this smartphone, we're constantly being influenced or bombarded. Our energy, our frequency is constantly being bombarded with other people's opinions, other people's ideas, other people's perceptions of what life is. And they have it where if I look at a video of a girl twerking, I'm gonna see 100 videos of a girl twerking tomorrow the next day. They like, nigga, you like this? Alright, we gonna suggest all these videos for you. So if whatever we watch, we're being amplified with that frequency, because that's the way Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram is set up now. They suggest videos for you based on your search history. So with all that being said, we recently had the incident in Oakland where a sister, a white supremacist, decided to slit a sister's throat. And because we're in the Trump era, as a black person, the news cycle, things you see going on in the news, man, it'll take you somewhere emotionally. And I've talked about this, but like I said, I have to remind myself, and I want to remind the family of how the universe works, regardless of what we feel, regardless of what we're going through, regardless of what anybody's going through. The universe works in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So with that being said, there's this great book. I highly recommend it. It's on top of the list. It's called The DNA Field and the Law of Resonance. And it's by Pierre Franck. And Frank is spelled Franckh. And I just wanted to read a chapter for the family. Actually, me and Blue Pill are going to be making a video on the blood moon tomorrow. So y'all can stay tuned for that, or come back to the channel for that. But for now, I just want to remind the family, because I know after this video, you're going to go on your smartphone and you're going to see some things that you don't like. And that may sit with you the rest of the day, the rest of the year, the rest of the month, and it may affect your relationship with your loved one, your children, those at work, or those who you encounter in the street. So being that we're energy beings, being that we're vibrational beings, I definitely think we have to know how the universe works in terms of vibration, and how these stories that we are bombarded with is affecting us on a vibrational level. So with that being said, family, let me just start out with this. I'm going to read briefly what is resonance, and this is from the book The DNA Field and the Law of Resonance. So what is resonance, family? Through the law of resonance, we come to understand how everything in the universe communicates with every other thing through vibrations. All objects and living things in our known world possess a unique oscillation. This includes the microcosm of the organs and the cells of the human body, and extends beyond our individual bodies to include all matter. When we examine matter in terms of its own resonance energies, we discover that different objects generally oscillate with different frequencies, while some oscillate with the same or similar frequencies. We know this from playing piano. When we hit a key on a piano, all the strings that resonate with that struck note, i.e. those that recognize the struck note and harmonize with it, are likewise brought into oscillation. Those notes could be higher or deeper, but as long as they are in resonance, they are brought into oscillation. All other people, things, and events cannot escape the resonant field that is generated within us if those persons, things, or events resonate with our generated frequency. Much like the various strings of a piano that resonate with a struck note, other people, things, and events cannot refuse to resonate with us if they are in the same resonance field as we are. They must and will react according to this resonance. What is the advantage when others with our same energy are brought into resonance with us? Here comes the second fundamental truth about the law of resonance. Like attracts like. Everything that resonates with us is inevitably drawn into our life. It is not necessarily always positive for us. For example, an opera singer, through the sheer vibration of her voice, can shatter a glass with a note. Her voice sounding a note essentially leads energy through the room toward the glass. When the transferred energy has the same resonance as the glass and the same natural frequency as the molecular structure of the glass, the stress on it can become so great that it shatters the glass. Resonance can be so strong that it destroys matter. Of course, we do not burst like glass, but similarly, the so-called negative vibration that we carry within us can bring the negative parts of ourselves into motion. This can bring people or things we actually do not want in our life, or bring uncomfortable, possibly even shocking events into our life. Conversely, positive vibration or resonance will bring the people, things, or events that carry the same positive charge or resonance into our lives. That is why it's important for us to know exactly which unique frequency we find ourselves in and which resonance field we are consciously or unconsciously created. So that's the end of that chapter. And I just wanted, that's very important, because it's unbelievable. Sometimes we just wonder, how the hell did I make this happen to me? But we're walking around, you didn't make it consciously happen. You didn't ask specifically for that car accident or to break a leg or whatever may happen, but you walked around with a certain frequency, a certain resonance field that attracted something that oscillates in that same resonance field, that same pain, that same frustration, that same stress, and it brought that to you. So that car accident may be the equivalent to 3 years worth of continuous stress, or continuously saying I hate my job, and that may be the same frequency of stress. So we got to be careful about how we react to our external world. With that being said, let me just read this other chapter to you, family, and it's real brief. The book is a real easy read, but this short chapter is called "How Does Your Resonance Field React to News Media?" And remember what I said in the beginning of this dialogue about the news media. Every piece of information, every communication, every message has an influence on our DNA and leaves an impression in our collective cell structure. The news, whether on TV or in the newspaper, is nothing but a collection of negative communications. We learn about unemployment, floods, climate catastrophes, energy crisis, bank closure, terrorist attacks, and the possibility that we ourselves could be the target of such an attack. This is only a small selection of the terrible scenarios with which we are sent to bed night after night. After we hear the worst things imaginable, accompanied by the cruelest images that we could be gathered from around the world, the news anchor smiles and wishes us a good night. What would a good night look like? TV, news, and newspapers are the best transmitters of fear, stirring up our collective anxiety and strengthening our disillusionment. Through them, we remain in a perpetual state of anxiety and self-protective fear, which our body can become overwhelmed by. Reading the newspaper or watching the evening news, we are guaranteed to always feel weaker and more powerless, no longer seeing things with any kind of perspective. Remember, like attract likes. When we get caught up in the fear energy, we draw in the experiences that confirm our fears. Wow. Through our fears, we create exactly that which scares us. The news has an insidious effect. It is not at all easy to get out of the cycle of fear and low or high level anxiety induced by the media, because the activation of stress hormones shrink our ability to think clearly. Furthermore, every information bite, every communication, every message has an influence on our DNA. It leaves an impression on our cell structure. All information storage and problem solving takes place in the forebrain. This is the seat of reason and logic. Reflexive, logical activity has its place in the hindbrain. With that, stress hormones can go to work very quickly in emergency, constricting the blood vessels in the forebrain. The result is we don't think clearly anymore. Beyond that, stress suppresses the center of the deliberate action, which is in the front cerebral cortex. Under stress, we actually have reduced intelligence and conscious perception. Under stress, we cannot think clearly and make conscious decisions. It is therefore extremely hard to come out of fear energy and generate a positive resonance field. But that's not all. When we fall asleep with stress and fear, we take this energy into our sleep awareness and store it deep within our subconscious brain. Current research on the brain has revealed that what goes into our consciousness is stored in our memory at night. This means that the closer the experience occurs to when we go to sleep, the more intense it will be built into our memory. And when the experience involves fear and anxiety, it will be that much closer to our reality. That which may seem harmless really has an enormous significance. How does one get out of this cycle? Very easily, simply by exiting. Try to see what it feels like to go to bed without watching the news. Instead, take some time to find your own positive thoughts. Do this for a whole week. Have you ever noticed that politicians like to stir up fears right before a decisive election so that they can then offer us promises that only they have an optimal solution and we should therefore not worry? And let's not forget the news anchor who presents us with a dear picture of the world and who then wishes us a good night. Maybe you should try setting yourself into a good night. After all, your life lies in your own hands and it belongs exactly there. What are all the wonderful resonance fields that you have created if you simply tear them down again? Making a habit of the news is not the only thing that persistently interferes with our wishing energy. Let's take a closer look at other viewing habits. What kind of movies do you watch? Do you like crime movies, horror, political thrillers? Do you prefer dramas and tragedies? Does your movie hero have hopeless situations and illnesses, the death of beloved people, or financial ruin? Always consider that the movie industry does everything it can to completely occupy your spirit. A truly good movie can only capture you when it seizes your emotions. Every director and screenwriter wants nothing else other than to touch the world of your emotions. Film producers therefore spend millions and employ an entire team so you will empathize with what their movie exemplifies. But remember, the mind cannot differentiate between fantasy and reality. The subconscious stores those experiences in its memories and directs future information based on those new experiences, whether they are fictional or not. When we watch a movie, we are involved in drama, whether it's about war, famine, or a fight for survival. That may seem to last only 90 minutes, but that information goes into our memory storehouse. If we do this frequently, then we come to occupy ourselves with these things both mentally and emotionally. The more we watch these kinds of movies or watch the news or special broadcasts about bad luck or famine, the more we fortify a resonance filled of poverty, worry, and fear. And this will work at odds with the positive resonance field we are trying to create. When we continuously expose ourselves to TV shows in which tragedy is played out, people are killed, read books in which dramas are played out, or people are murdered, or we feel an inattention and are captivated by a book, extensively and intensively absorb news and messages that shock us or produce disgust or defense, we build this resonance field also within us. We build up an enormous resonant field of poverty, worry, helplessness, hatred, and fear in us. The law of attraction works, and we identify more and more with what we do not want to be. Sometimes, perhaps too often, the resulting feelings are much more intense and sustained than the feelings we have caused by our desires and wishes. How different would life be if for a week we only admitted energies that were conducive to our health and well-being? Try to follow. Only read edifying literature. Watch only movies that give you courage and inspiration and that make you laugh. Only listen to uplifting music. Only meet with people you really like. Write loving letters and emails. Write down your positive thoughts in a journal. Let yourself be well. Everything you expose yourself to influences your resonance field and awakens different emotions. When you hear pleasant music or read uplifting books or watch uplifting movies, your disposition becomes considerably friendlier, lighter, more cheerful, and calmer. These feelings pervade your resonance field. The synapses in your brain are responsible for this. Expose yourself to those influences that demonstrate the fulfillment of your wishes. The more often you do this, the faster those influences will become your reality. I'm going to end it there. And I seen a meme the other day, and I've been talking about this for years. One of the last sentences I read in this book says, expose yourself to those influences that demonstrate the fulfillment of our wishes. A big problem with our people is that we are unable to do this because the influences that demonstrate the fulfillment of our wishes, we too busy hating on those influences. We too busy being jealous of those influences. So the same thing we can learn from, the same thing that can help us, we jealous of. So the shit we blocking our own blessings. Those who are doing better. If you want to be a famous songwriter, if you want to be a famous journalist, if you want to be a famous whatever, speaker, a famous musician, a famous engineer, sometimes it could be depressing seeing somebody who's doing what you want to do because it reminds you of where you're not at. So you don't want to directly hate on them, but you don't want to watch it because it makes you feel bad about you. But you're defeating yourself because this is the very thing that's going to put you in the resonance field. There's something called mirror neurons that's in another chapter in this book, and this is why you got to buy it. And I'm gonna end it there. The mirror neurons, simply by watching somebody do what you want to do, makes you able to do that same thing 1,000 times easier. How you think a baby learns how to use the bathroom? When he sees his parents use the bathroom. How you think a baby learns how to speak? Mirror neurons is how the baby learns. Mirror neurons is how the animal learns. Mirror neurons is how we learn without even knowing we're learning. So we got to stop the hate. We got to stop the jealousy. Competition has always been at the forefront of this culture. We always compete with each other. That's why we only celebrate those who are dead and criticize those who are living. Family, this is serious. Be careful about what you watch on television. We're bombarded with the media 24 hours a day. This shit ain't like when I was 18 years old. It ain't like when Brother Rich was 16. It ain't like when Brother Rich was 6. This is a whole different world. Like the mind said the world was going to end in 2012. Shit, after 2012, this 4G, this Web 2.0, I don't know if that's what they call it. This is a whole different world. This is a whole different ball game. It's a whole different economy. Business, the old system is being replaced by a new system. I just seen something on TV that said mass transit. the biggest transit system in the world in New York City is losing money because of the share economy, because of Lyft, because of Uber. More people are going to Uber. You've seen how mainstream media came at YouTube because they seen nobody's watching TV no more. Social media is serious, my family. Make sure, like Red Pill just did a lecture that's on my Patreon, patreon.com/blackmagic363. If you want to know how to survive in this digital world. The internet is full of treasures or trolls. You decide where to give your energy to. It's a world full of treasures out there on the internet, or it's a world full of trolls who are looking to suck your energy dry, and you will leave that internet drained. On that note, family, this is Brother Rich. Make sure you sign up, support positive media who's going to leave you on a good, on a uplifting, on a financially beneficial resonance field. This field that I'm leaving y'all with today, this is where it's at, family. So with that being said, make sure you support me on Patreon. Make sure you tune into the YouTube channel. Go support my music with Cambada, the Holy Ghost. And love and light to you all. I'm signing out, family. See you tomorrow. Peace.
I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.
And they was talking all that hot ish. When the prophets ain't apostles, here the gospel is the gossip. I'm a science project, try and pocket this rhyming process. Watch us in formation, going through lines. Fiber optics, this is Miley Cyrus in her freak phase. The naked truth, don't be Ray Caruth in a trunk punk, just take the truth shit. Daisy Dukes at a night show, I raid your room, change the mood. That was like though, yeah. Break a fuse if they refuse. This snapping, shots without the flashes. If I was ever in a pit with you, that's harassment. Your storyboard magic that had it. To be real, our ears over the field like 100-yard passes. Score the basket, order more caskets. Only way they getting bypasses is gastric. I'm tapped in, it's too late. Fix your face, this is sleeping on a killer in a cabin by Crystal Lake.
Lord,
we got rent to raise.
They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.